Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, everyone. My name is Knight, and I'm your host for the UNN. Welcome to our first ever broadcast. Today, I'm joined by my co-host,
I'm Blitz.
And today, we'll be going over everything that happened last week, as well as what's to come this week. Now, surprisingly, for our first broadcast, we have a lot to talk about. Blitz, there's an upcoming platoon system, or battalion to platoon system. What do you have to say about that? What's the information?
So, we gotten a lot of information about that over this past week, recently, with the new changes coming to it. So, it's going to be a 4-person system with teams, with, big groups of 3 battalions, technically?
Yeah, I believe so. I think 3 battalions, each with 3 or 4 people in them, depending on how many members we have.
Well, technically fire teams, but yeah.
Yeah, fire team, squads, whatever they call it now. But we actually have an exclusive little interview with the creator of the battalion to platoon system, Mr. Springer of HireCom. Now, before we get on to that, I wants to know, Blitz, what are your thoughts on the change? What do you think about it? Do you think it's a good change, bad change? What do you think?
You know, I'm kind of currently unbiased about it, because it's still brand new, and I don't know where it's going to take us yet, but I am excited to see where it goes.
Interesting. Now, personally, for me, I think it was an unwarranted change. I feel like our pre-lobbies were just fine, that we didn't need to change our entire platoon system. I feel like we should have focused more on game modes, maps, stuff like that, things to make the server a little funner. Now, we're gonna head over to our lovely returning member, actually in the field. But before we do that, everybody who hasn't seen him already, give a nice warm welcome to THEODSTHERO. He's joining us for the UNN broadcasts and is our in-field reporter. So, if you haven't seen him, go ahead, say hi, and if you have, but haven't said hi yet, go say hi. Bro's back. It's been a couple months, but he's back. And in the field with his coming interview.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am your on-field news anchorman, the THEODSTHERO. Today joined by
your mama.
And today my mother will be telling you all about changes that are undergoing in the UOH.
Springer,
Oh, I am?
Okay. Asking if they can dual wield Spartan weapons.
No.
I feel about the battalions changing from battalions to platoons. What were the motives behind such a change?
So, it was my idea. So, obviously, I like it. So, it's mainly to make it so where being HireCom is a lot easier. Because, as of currently, as pretty much everybody has noticed, the HireCom wasn't able to handle the amount of people that were in the factions. So, we're trying to make it easier on them. And make more opportunity for more people to go up in the server. So, people aren't just stuck at the bottom. You know what I mean?
Elaborate on the part where you said it is hard for the High Command to handle.
The factions haven't been... factions haven't been filled up in... The factions haven't been filled up in months. We haven't had a full faction with active members. I don't even know how long. We're trying to get rid of that. We're trying to make it to where things are constantly filled and things are constantly being active. Obviously, today's event, we had 54 people, I think it was. So we're taking that step in the right direction. But we want to get it to where it's like that every day. Back to what it was. So.
Amazing, sir. Just brilliant. And how does this decision... Oh, sorry, sir. How do you feel this...
It's going to make it easier for them to run their factions. So hopefully, it's going to make it a little bit less stressful. Yeah, that's what I'm saying with the current names. So, but yeah, it'll hopefully make it easier for them to run all their stuff. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, de-stress.
Appreciate this interview. You heard it here, folks.
Now, Blitz, that was an interesting interview. Wouldn't you say? We got a couple interesting points brought up. So let's talk about real quick what Springer said in the beginning. He said that this upcoming battalion to platoon system would make things easier for HireCom. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I think some of them, yes, they could use the help quite a bit. Whereas others, I don't think they were struggling at all. They were handling their battalions quite fine.
Interesting, interesting. I actually completely agree with that. And we'll see a little later with our other interviews. People are saying the exact same thing. They weren't having issues and all that. But another point that Springer said was that it'll make it easier to go up in the server. However, from other sources and other HiCom members, I'm hearing the opposite. What do you think about that? Who do you think is in the right? Who do you think is in the wrong? What do you think exactly is going to happen with the ranking structure, especially since you've been stuck at E4 until recently?
Yep,
So
I just recently got E5, but from what I've heard, he's thinking, and some of HiCom were talking about how to take up a whole month to rank up instead of about 2 weeks. Most of the people, I don't think, are going to be happy about that. Maybe like the people who are in it for the long run, yes, but some people aren't really here for good. So
I agree. I personally feel like there actually wasn't enough rank ups, at least from what I've seen. But if we're extending it to a month, then I don't know, man. Mr. Springer has a little explaining to do from that interview. Now we're gonna switch over to our next segment. Last week's recruitment run. Blitz, I believe you have the numbers for that. How many people we recruited?
yeah, from my source, we've gotten about 5 recruits from that, so that's quite a bit.
Yeah. Now, what do you think? Do you think these members have any potential? Have you seen them at all? What are your thoughts on them?
I've seen some of them in combat. I think quite a few of them could go far, but it's all up to them where they go. So
Nice. Now we have 2 interviews actually to go through. The first one will be with our Colonel Ghosted, who gives some advice on what platoon you should join based on your playstyle.
What kind of battalions do you think our new recruits are going to join?
Depends on what everyone is, since everyone is really different. If you want to be really intense into this stuff, you can either go from usually the ODSTs 9th and 10th is your best bet. If you want to go really good into it, because Spartan tryouts don't happen every single day, so your best option would be going into ODSTs. Now, if you want to be very serious about the server, but you also maybe not excel at combat, 19th also works out. Now, if you want to be a nice laid back, you want to join one of the Marines. Now, everyone runs their faction differently, but I personally think if you're in a Marine faction, you're kind of just here for fun. You're not here to take it as serious as everyone else.
Of course, you heard that. Those are the factions you should join if you're looking for something fun, looking for something interesting, or you want to be a heavy lifter.
And that was Ghosted for you guys. What do you think, Blitz? Do you think his recommendations were all right?
I think he hit that nail right on the head with the Marines, ODSTs, and even Spartans.
Awesome. You heard it here first, folks. If you're chillax, you don't want to do much, go for Marines. If you're a little more serious, go for ODSTs. And if you're around when Spartans open up once in a blue moon, and you wanna be a little heavy achiever, go for Spartans. Now we have another interview with a new recruit from that day. Also, thanks to our wonderful THEODST hero. So let's go to that. Let's see what our new recruits think.
Hello, I am your news anchorman, the ODST hero, coming at you live from the UNN with one of our newest recruits, Bobbert, who has joined for his very first time. How you feel about joining the UOH, Bobbert?
Well, I'm still pretty much testing the water out, but y'all seem like a chill group, so figure I'll give you guys a try.
And if you look below us, you can see one of our beautifully custom-made maps by Sleeping Cow. What do you think of the map so far? You excited to fight on it?
Well, it definitely gives me some nostalgia from playing Halo Reach. I can tell you that right now. But yeah, I'm excited and just overall interested to see how it works down there.
Awesome. So what are some some things you would like to see happen around here? Like, what kind of things are you expecting to come at you?
Well, during whatever's about to happen, probably bullets. But I guess I don't really know what to expect, honestly.
So that was our new recruit, Bobbert. Hopefully we see him around a little bit more, and hopefully we get to see him progress through the system. Blitz, what do you think? What do you think about what do you think about our new recruits' expectations? You think they're reasonable? You think
They are quite reasonable expectations, honestly. Everyone has their own expectations, though, and their own opinion. And I respect that, because Bobbert, he put out some pretty good points about what he's expecting.
Awesome. I completely agree. I hope to see more of Bobbert personally. And who knows, maybe we can interview him again one day. See how he's doing, if he's still around. But now, we're going to switch over to some more exciting news. Now, Blitz, something interesting that's happening that we haven't had happen in a while is a raid event. And according to the community, a lot of people are actually having quite high hopes for it. What do you think? What do you think about the upcoming raid event?
If I'm going to be honest, everyone should be excited for this. Engulfed hosts some wonderful raid events whenever he does. We're hoping to see some more people host raid events, but for now, we've got Engulfed and his custom maps he's been making.
I completely agree. I myself am 100% excited for this. I can't wait to see what Engulf's cooked up. And rumor has it, we're going to have working drop pods for the ODSTs.
And I heard we're getting working Pelicans.
Yeah, for the Marines to drop off. Now, a little bit of a controversial thing that's rumored around is that we're going to actually be partnering with the Noble Ascendancy for this raid event because we need covenant for the map. Yeah. What's your opinion on that, Blitz?
You know what? If I'm going to be honest, I don't have anything wrong with them. They run their things their way. We run our things our way. They don't particularly like our way, but whatever suits them, they can do. And as long as they don't interfere with our stuff, we're fine.
I completely agree. I know we butt heads quite a bit when we used to partner with them because they didn't like how we did stuff or something about our maps or anything. But honestly, if they don't have a problem with us, we won't have a problem with them, and hopefully our raid event will go smoothly. Now, we're going to be going on to this week's upcoming event schedule, and that Blitz will take care of. So, Blitz, take it away.
All right, so as we all know, today, Monday, we've got Engulfed with his co-host, Bread, for our raid event. Tuesday is going to be one of our mandatories with Shade hosting it. Wednesday, however, is going to be our recruitment run with Bravo and Dookie as our hosts, and we also have our combat host after recruitment, which is going to be Striker. On Thursday, we've got one of our favorite people, Rav, and then Friday and Saturday are going to be our beautiful, beautiful generals, Sleepy and Noble.
Awesome. And of course, we'll let you know if any of that changes with an impromptu recording session the exact same day anything happens. Now, we're going to switch over to our final segment,
The People's Perspective.
Now, one of, if not the most important things over here in the UNN is the people's perspective and input on everything that's going on in the UOH. What you think about the things matters to us, and we will make sure your voices are heard. Now, throughout last week, the THEODSTHERO and Bread ended up doing quite a few interviews with quite a few different people, both high-com and non-high-com. And for the most part, it was about the battalion to platoon change. But something interesting is that majority of the people had the same opinion. They either didn't know or were completely against it. Now, we're going to switch over in a couple seconds to our first high-com interviews, and then we'll show the non-high-com perspective. I know that there's a couple of them that go over people's expectations for the raid event. However, majority, if not all of them, go over the battalion to platoon change. And once we come back, we will address everything and give our final inputs.
battalions to platoons. What's your whole thought on that? Good change, bad change?
I think it's a good change. I'm still personally learning it because I'm not big into like all the army and lore stuff, so I don't know exactly how it works. So I'm still learning it. But I think it's a good idea, something good to try out, bring something new once again. We'll see how this month process goes and see if it goes bad or not.
The whole platoon battalion thing. What's going on with that up in HighCom? I mean, here it's been stirring up such a fuss.
It is stirring a fuss, but it is the main reason is because we need you. Last time this had tried to happen before, the reason why it didn't succeed, because it has happened once before, is that we didn't have it explained correctly to us. Now, I think personally that it could work really well, especially for as we need more recruits, and it kind of shortens out everyone. From what I've been explained, if smaller factions means easier to run, and you can tell who may or may not be pulling their weight in said faction, as Springer said before. But I personally think with these, it could also just be more fun, because then we can have more people who want to have leadership spots take place, and if they're not good, you can replace them easily to lead this 4 or 5 person squad. I think it could work out as long as we get the rest of it explained to us correctly.
So battalions, what do you think about those? We're not gonna have those for a month.
At first, I will not lie, the server was at a small decline. It sounded like a good idea to keep everything organized because we did notice that there was less organization within the server. So we wanted to use a different method, and having these platoons, I guess you can say the platoon system, everything falls down within the fire teams. The fire teams still have their fire team leaders learning their own unique ways in combat, but they all fall under the platoon leader, which they all at least have this like the same page and basis of combat or experience, so there won't be people miscommunicating with each other, like, oh, let's go do this, and then this person doesn't agree because they're not used to that. So within the platoon, they'll learn the same thing, which they know what to expect with each other, at least at some point.
Okay, wow. All right, but do you think that change will make shifting back into battalions more streamlined, or do you think we should stay with the system we're coming up with?
Honestly, it sounds like a good idea, but from what I'm hearing, people are not happy with it. And hey, everybody has their own opinion, and that's okay. So I want to see how this goes. I'm not 100% sure if this is foolproof or not. So it's more like ride the wave and see what happens. Hopefully everything comes out right. If not, well, no harm done. We go back to the regular stuff.
Well, how do you think the change will affect the new people that are joining us, the ones who haven't even gotten to an experience at Battalion yet?
That's a good question. Well, the bad part about that, I guess, is it's going to be weird for them because they're going to have to get used to our old systems. But the good part is they'll have more people that are used to the old system, so they can get them used to it, and explain.
And that is if the new system doesn't stand.
Yeah.
Keyword if. Of course.
Yes, sir. But that's all it is, They have mentors right now with this new system coming in and testing it out. We don't have anybody, just the basic rundown written on paper. So we're seeing how it works. While these guys, if we go back to the normal systems, how we're used to it, they'll have people to explain the small details on how everything runs.
Well, as opposed to just the standard troop, I also hear that this little run trial is causing some chaos and confusion up in HighCom too. Not everyone is full on the plan, and some people don't even know its full extent. Is that true?
Yeah, that is a little true. Example, one of the higher com members, mentioned rank ups were going to be a cooldown of a month, which was not really discussed with the rest of higher com, which kind of raised our eyebrows a little bit.
A lot of concern.
A lot of concern. We started hearing complaints around the server, why are we taking this long for a rank up, when back then it was 2 weeks, and that already for them was a little too long. So us as higher com, we try to discuss it. We still are trying to discuss it to get an even ground. Me personally, I'm against it. it's unfair in my point of view.
So, just to get your thoughts on it, do you think this new system is going to bring chaos or more control to the UOH free lobbies?
Well, we can't really get more chaotic than they currently are. We have people shitting on the owner's desk, the gaggle fuck over E2 and 17th. But it may bring a bit more order than current times.
Wow, that's kind of got me a little fucked. So what you're saying is you don't know.
At the moment, we will have to wait for it to be completely going before we can figure out if it's going to be chaotic or not.
So how long are we going to be doing platoons till it's officially put in?
If I remember correctly, it's till the end of this month, so like 15 days.
What do you think is going to happen after those 15 days? Are we going to go back to regular battalions, or are we going to continue with the platoon system?
We're currently at a kind of split mindset when it comes to the people. Some people like it, want to keep it. Some people don't want to keep it. It's just trying to find the balance of which majority is voting for what more.
Well, what side do you think you'll be voting for, Shade?
Well, I currently have no clue.
And what are your current thoughts on the change from platoon to battalion or battalion to platoon system that you just commented on?
I think it's a little ridiculous, but it's it's whatever. I feel like it complicates stuff a lot more than it should.
Why do you believe it complicates things more?
We have people that don't want to be split from other factions, but are now gonna have to be split from those factions. And the rank ups,
Well,
from what I'm being told, rank ups are gonna be slow, but they're already slow. So.
True. Very true. But I do have a question. From one of our earlier interviews, one with, I believe, Springer, he said that the new system would make it more streamlined and easy for the HICOM to organize the troops with the lack of current members in the UOH. What are your thoughts on that comment?
Me personally, I get what he's trying to do, but I didn't really have any problem managing my guys. If there was someone inactive, I just gave them like a week to get on. Someone was being a piece of shit, I just talked to them. That's pretty much it. But I guess I got less people
Now,
to manage.
how do you
now.
feel the events have changed since this? Do you think they will improve or decline as it goes on with changes to the pre-lobby rather than the actual modes?
Me personally, depending on what game modes they come up with, how do I say it? How much how long it'll take for them to make new maps and stuff. That really all depends on how they do stuff. But I feel like if they actually do what they would need to do, I feel like it could, increase numbers and events.
So what you're saying is we should be making more changes to our actual game modes and events rather than the pre-lobby.
Yeah, and quit using headlong over and over again. It's getting repetitive. All right, Shadow, let's start some things off. How do you think of the change from, factions to platoons?
Me personally, I find it stupid as shit. I be seeing people getting confused as fuck every 5 seconds where they're asking if they're lining up in their fire teams or they're lining up in their squads. And every event host says different things. And everyone's getting confused. Everyone's I've asked says that they don't like it, me personally.
All right, Cotton. Let's start things off with the first question. What do you think of this new change from factions to platoons?
So personally, I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of it, if I'm going to be completely honest, because I like things the way they were, because I was pretty comfortable like that. I as a person don't like sudden change. If it's small and over time, yeah, but I don't like the big change. Also, I prefer being in a group with a larger amount of people because there's more people for me to talk to than just the small amount that I feel like I'm confided with. I mean, sure, that's nice and all, but I prefer larger groups because I'm a very social person for the most part.
Mug, let's get straight to the questions here. What's your recent opinions on the recent changes from factions to platoons?
I think that it could go one of two ways. Either it's going to help the server if we can actually get it implemented, or if the majority of people can't be patient enough for it, it could ultimately kill the server.
Okay. Do you agree with other people that this platoon system, it might be very, confusing and very what's the word I could use here? Let me think here. Very tasking.
Yeah. I think them taking it from 3 faction commanders to 9 is a little overkill. It's essentially 9 factions now, but they're still grouped it's still 3 factions, but now rather than having one person over the faction, you have 3 people over fire teams within that group.
So it looks like most of people's opinions are lining up. They either don't support the idea at all, or they're in the middle about it, like Shade Fang was. Now, a big part that was mentioned a couple times is that it's causing a fuss in HighCom, which is interesting because normally at least I would assume, when people make big server changes like this, they should at least talk about it for a while. So what do you think about that? Do you think this was just an impromptu decision, or do you think they just didn't plan it right?
I honestly think they just didn't plan it right, and they didn't talk about it long enough to give them time to cook about what to do with this whole change. They kind of just implemented it a little too fast for everyone's liking, even some of HighCom's liking. So, I don't know.
I agree. I believe that that's probably what happened. Either that, or it was just an on-the-spot decision. But regardless, it's happening. And actually, it's going in effect this week. Technically last Friday, but as of this week, I believe everything is going into effect. We'll be lining up in platoon formation and all that. So keep an eye out. Make sure you know exactly what to do, and stick with us. It's a trial run. If people don't like it, as Noble said, we won't do it. But if you have any input that you want to be heard, comment it down below, ping us in the server, do whatever you'd like. We will make sure your voices are heard. That's the news for this week and last week. I appreciate you all for watching. Blitz, say something.
We'll see you next week.
And that is the news.